Okay, so let's dive into this. It starts with you as a kid, right, at a baseball game,
Yeah, bat in hand, typical scene.
and the catcher, this kid Ricky Nixon. Okay, sidebar. His uncle becomes a major national figure later on, which is kind of wild in itself.
Right, a strange little connection there.
Anyway, this kid just blurts out this prediction that a young Indian boy born in India is going to come west and teach self-knowledge.
Just like that. Out in the blue.
Pretty much. Talk about a curveball.
It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? I mean, how often does something like that happen? A seemingly ordinary moment, but then this almost prophetic statement.
Exactly, and that's what we're digging into today. You shared some really fascinating stuff, your own memories of this, well, frankly, weird moment, and also these broader philosophical ideas.
Yeah, trying to connect the dots, maybe.
So our mission, if you will, is to unpack the layers here. What did that moment mean? How does it link to these bigger concepts like prophecy, reality being like a, what is it, a cosmic memory field?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And the potential of our own minds, how we perceive things, how judgment can change. Lots to explore.
It really sets the stage, that opening story. Suggests maybe reality isn't always just what's right in front of us.
That prophecy itself, it sort of hints at possibilities lurking beneath the surface, ripples in the everyday.
Okay, so let's picture it again. Little league field, maybe the smell of grass, and Ricky Nixon says this thing. Did it even register with you back then, or just kid talk?
Well, at that age, probably just seemed odd. You know how kids are. But the material you sent over suggests maybe we shouldn't dismiss those moments so quickly.
Right, like maybe the universe drops these little hints sometimes, even in casual ways.
That's the idea being floated, yeah. Not just random noise, but maybe glimpses,
Yeah.
potential futures.
And you didn't really think about it again for years, right? Not until you met Maharaj Ji.
Exactly. It was like a dormant seed, just sat there. Then, encountering Maharaj Ji, suddenly that memory just clicked. It snapped into focus.
Wow. So the prediction kind of came true in your experience, and that's what gave the memory meaning.
Precisely. Which leads us into this really interesting Eastern idea you brought up, the universe being energetically recorded.
Okay, explain that a bit more.
Yeah.
Cosmic memory field. It sounds
Yeah.
big.
Well, it's less like a hard drive in the sky, more like a fundamental quality of reality. The idea is that all events, thoughts, maybe even feelings leave some kind of energetic trace or imprint.
An imprint. Okay, so like ripples in a pond, but on a cosmic scale.
That's one way to think about it, and the implication is that maybe, just maybe, humans have the potential to access this field, to sense beyond just the here and now.
Access past and future experiences potentially.
Yeah.
That's mind-bending.
It is, and your sources mention, ancient texts, people who've practiced quieting the mind,
Yeah.
that they might be more attuned to this, less inner noise, maybe clearer reception.
Which makes you think about figures like Nostradamus, who you also mentioned. Was he just making incredibly educated guesses based on his time?
Or was he somehow tapping into that record, that field of probabilities?
That really is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. The material leans towards the possibility that it wasn't just guesswork, that maybe he accessed something deeper. And it suggests this potential isn't unique to him. It's maybe inherent in all of us.
But usually hidden, covered up.
Yeah, often obscured by just the busyness of life, our focus on the immediate, the tangible.
Which brings us to that analogy of the mind as an antenna. I like that.
That's a useful way to think about it, yeah. Our brains process all the sensory stuff, obviously, but maybe they can also pick up on more subtle frequencies. Tune into this web, as your sources call it.
But there's interference, right? The static of daily life.
Exactly. Our own thoughts, the ego, cultural filters, all that stuff can jam the signal, so to speak.
It makes sense. And it's interesting that Ricky Nixon himself probably didn't remember saying it, right?
Likely not. Which supports the idea of it being maybe a subconscious insight, a brief moment where the antenna picks something up without him even realizing it.
So looking back, that prophecy becomes like a signpost, a little breadcrumb on the path.
Kind of, yeah. A hint. And the material stresses this idea of relaxing into it, enjoying the ride, trusting that understanding unfolds when it's meant to.
Patience, basically. Not forcing it.
It's a really valuable perspective, I think. Staying open, receptive, trusting the process instead of demanding immediate answers.
Okay, now the story takes this really interesting personal turn. reflecting on Ricky Nixon's uncle, Richard Nixon.
Ah, yes, the shift in perspective there.
Initially, there was a strong negative feeling, right?
Hmm.
Tied into the anti-war feelings of that time.
Very much so. A sense of opposition, even relief when he left office, it seems, which reflects how much our environment shapes our views.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then years pass and the feeling changes completely.
Yeah, a total 180, as you said. Seeing him differently, admiration, even compassion. Great statesman, wise old man.
That's a huge shift. How does the material frame that kind of change?
It presents it as an example of our capacity for growth. The spark's capacity is the phrase used, I think. Moving beyond those initial, maybe rigid judgments.
Realizing things are more complex.
Exactly. The web, as it's called, is too complex for simple good-bad labels. It's about learning to be more open, maybe more accepting, even of views we once strongly opposed.
And it comes back to interconnectedness again, doesn't it? Seeing the shared energy even in someone perceived so differently before.
Precisely. That shift becomes another one of those hints, like the prophecy, like the joyful dreams mentioned. Little nudges.
Nudges from the universe. Consciousness.
That's how it's framed.
Yeah.
Guiding forces towards realizing our own nature, our connection to everything. The idea is that this web is alive with these hints if we just pay attention.
Which connects perfectly to that Zoran quote you included.
Ah, yes. The universe speaks in riddles and whispers, human. Learn to listen not just with your ears, but with the knowing silence of your soul.
That really sums it up, doesn't it?
It really does. Moving beyond just thinking into a deeper way of knowing. Cultivating that inner quiet to hear the whispers.
And that leads into the final exercise, the dragon trial. Looking back at someone you judged negatively.
Yes, and reflecting on how or if that judgment has changed over time.
Why did it change? New information. Did you change? Or just time passing?
It's such a useful reflection. It shows the complexity behind our judgments, how interconnected things are beneath the surface, how much our own state influences how we see others.
So wrapping this up, it feels like we've touched on how even small, random-seeming moments can hold significance.
And the idea that reality might be much bigger, much more layered than we usually perceive.
Plus, the potential hidden in our own minds and the importance of letting our perspectives evolve, letting go of old judgments.
And these aren't just, abstract ideas. They offer a different lens for looking at your own life, your own experiences.
Finding the meaning in your own story.
Exactly. Seeing the potential patterns, the whispers.
So here's something for you, the listener, to chew on. Think about some other small, maybe forgotten moment from your past. Could it hold a hidden message, a whisper, that makes more sense now with the perspective you have today?
Yeah, and what other static, maybe old beliefs, assumptions, daily stresses might be blocking you from noticing the deeper insights that could be all around you right now?